Hey everyone, it's Kai, and today we'll be going over the tournament results from the recent Gunma Deluxe tournament from Japan. And this one's interesting in that it's the new set got released last week, and bam, tournament happened, right? So we can see maybe some see what's topping, basically. What's been doing well? Is there any new things that are doing well? And I think there is. You can see it on this pie chart from our good friend Fuzzy here. All right, great stuff, great stuff. That, you know, some decks have risen back in power. Now, I just do want to say that, again, for these deluxe tournaments, there is what you call diversity cut, but we can kind of figure out where the deluxe diversity cut starts and, you know, how it impacted the tournament. But overall, it's just good to see some, you know, new results that, you know, might explain some topping stuff, or just, you know, going over some cool decks, right? So let's kind of get started. We'll first start off with the top four. And this is the winner that was Team Revival, right? Playing a Gandiva, Chaos, and a Bastion lineup. And in second place, we have a team taking Gandiva, Ballista, and Minerva. And then in third place, we have a Different Fights team playing Gandiva. Different Fight actually on Gandiva. And then we had Taunt from Korea playing the Tachi Crest. And then we have Harpin taking the Mikazuki deck. So they came third. Congratulations, congratulations. And then in fourth, we have Stray Guard with the Jets, Jet Prison, and the Gandiva list. So very, very nice. And we'll kind of go through most of these lists. I'm not going to go through all of them. There's some ones that I really want to see that you might find boring. But first, I want to see the Gandiva list, because they do have that new kind of, the new grade 3 added. And also want to see the Bastion ones 100%. So first, let's kind of look at the first place team. So they brought this is the Gandiva player. What they did was, they have the new Gandiva support here, as you can see. This guy's just really, really good. Right, really good. It makes the whole deck kind of more consistent as well. And there's actually very easy slots you can just replace. So like Cyclers were kind of the flex slot, and then a lot of people were taking away the counter charger. So this guy like Balson, right? So people have already been lowering the counts of Balson, and they can lower a counter charger, and then, you know, even the grade 2, they took one copy off, and they just add in like 3 to 4 copies of your new grade 3, which it's just good, right? It's just good. And then next we have is just the Chaos deck. The Chaos deck, if you've been paying attention at least to Vanguard past set 11, Chaos has been doing relatively fine. A lot of the tier lists also rank it relatively high for what it does. Just overall a very strong rushy deck is what I heard. And then yeah, just it feels like a very, very good third deck to bring. And then lastly, we have that Bastion list. So Bastion, kind of cool, right? It came back up. The new PR support was great, but then getting Bastion Accord, it was just really, really strong. Bastion Accord is like insanely good. You can see the ride line, they kind of changed it up to kind of the Blaster ride line, right? Just to kind of stop early aggression, which I think is fine. Just like overall, the format's pretty dirty, okay? Like early aggression gets rewarded very, very well. So having a blaster that is shutting things down is maybe better than just, like, you know, drawing one or like calling a card off the top. Even though the calls might be really good, but you could also just call triggers. So right. Interesting, they don't run Amata No anymore. This one is the Blue OT. Blue OT is really nice. Red OT is really nice. But Amata Noah is that one OT that Bastion benefits a lot from compared to the other Keta lines. So just not seeing it here is kind of interesting too. But yeah, overall, only one Sages as well. I know a lot of people have been talking about Sages, whether it's worth it. They ran the order. They ran Fork, right? But I personally don't think Fork's that good. But they won, so it worked for them, yeah. Next, we have the second place Gandiva team. As you can see, again, just replacing the Cyclers. Took out an extra Balson just to add in 3 of the new grade 3, so that's nice. Then this is Different Fight. So what he took out is a Balson. Actually put in 4 as well, 4 of the new grade 3s. So took out a Balson, took out a grade 2, and then just no Cyclers, right? Just drew down to business, and then just, yeah, 4 of the new grade 3. So this is the Crest as well. This is the Crest, it's Tachi Crest, right? That Taunt played. Nice Token Rambu deck. I do want to build this deck, just kind of play around it. Just play around with Token Rambu, because it's not something that we get in English, but it feels like a collab set that really impacts the meta. As you can see, they took 2 Token Rambu decks. This is Mikazuki, that what's Harpin played. Right now, one thing that's interesting is that this list is not running the Forge order. If you look at Taunt's list before, right, there was this the weirdo guy here. Yeah, this dude. So Harpin is not running this one, and apparently this card is very, 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 very good. Let's put it that way. So I'd like to see his thoughts on why he didn't run it, but yeah, otherwise just, I think out of like the token rubber decks currently, they have Mikazuki and Kashu Komitsu, right, as like the main ones that have been showing some results. A lot of people say that the Mikazuki deck is just better because it basically, like Kashu Komitsu has like, is like kind of memey, like lots of like Vanguard attacks, but then you just end with no hand, so you might as well just do better stuff, right? Which is apparently what Mikazuki does. So I do want to kind of test out this deck and just see how it goes. It seems pretty interesting. So nice, nice, nice. And then lastly, we do have the 4th place Gandiva deck. This guy stuck with the Cyclers, which is pretty. How does he fit it? So he has 2 Bosen as well. So he took out 2 of these. The grade 2 dude, for example. But it feels kind of stacked. Like 3 Cyclers, 4 of the new grade 3. 4 Best Harvest still. How does he do it? I'm actually curious. Hang on. Let's compare this to a different fights deck. Oh no, he doesn't run Brachio Force. That's right. So he just doesn't run Brachio Force, and he just replaces it with the grade 3. But I just feel like Brachio Force is just so good in this current metagame. It allows you to aggress early, alright, just at least put on pressure and like shut down pressure as well. So not running is just kind of, I feel like it's a bit wrong, but you know, if you just draw billion cards with a cycler, I guess that kind of offsets pressure as well, right? So okay, that's interesting. And then here is the Prison deck that somehow made it. Well, Prison got some new support, so it's got the new PR that just makes it like is basically more copies of the grade 4. So you can play a really controlly build. You got a new card. I think there's a PR as well that replaces the Shovel Stud, which basically just draws you a card as well. So overall, very, very good old Prison deck, just doing its things. But you know, he's still running Shovel Stud. So I guess drawing's still pretty good. Drawing's still pretty good. Anyway, let's look at the other decks as well. So we have this from it was a top 16. So as we can see, there's just a lot of different decks out there. And I guess some of the interesting stuff is going from the bottom, right? We have that Amino Gruzio, and then there's quite a few Bastion builds as well, but we've seen some of these, like Revival, for example. Orphist also doing well. I know a lot of people were disappointed at Orphist Mask, but Orphist is still doing things, which is nice. And then moving up to the 9th to 12th place, I think these few have all been seen with the Overlord, right? Overlord, nice. And then top 8. So this is where we can start seeing the diversity not being so diverse. So around 6th is where the 7th is where diversity cut starts. Everything like 6 and above, they all went undefeated. So they pretty much have, yeah, it does look like 6 and above, they all went undefeated. But you'll still see people take random decks just because on the off chance they lose one game, they still want the best possibilities of getting to top cut. But going from, you know, the diversity era, we have yeah, the Solarian is the interesting one. Zorga, Solarian, right? That's a really strange lineup. Then we have, you know, Lakia, right? Lakia and a Magnolia. So Magnolia. So this one's new. Greedon also has been doing okay the last few times. If you've been checking VG Top Decks weekly show, go check that out. Greedon always like posts some decks every week, so it's not really surprising that people will take it for a 3rd deck. And then, but you know, Solarian is definitely a 3rd deck for sure. But we'll look at it later. And then in the undefeated Swiss here, you know, 1 Mushi King. So this guy killed out every single other Mushi King. Dianos. So a lot of people will find Dianos or Dianos or whatever very interesting. Like, wow, how did Heroes make it? But that's because they got a new PR that is like insanely good, right? It's insanely good. Probably just makes the deck like just work. So that's why there's been more kind of hero decks kind of popping up, especially at the local level. And then another Orphist, right? Another Orphist, another Mikazuki as well. And then yeah, just the rest is pretty meta, you know, Bastion and Gandiva. So we'll kind of go through some of these decks too. So first off, you know, now we're going from the top. So I do want to see some of the Bastion lists just to see how they diverge. You know, a lot of people still like, you know, Bastion Prime, but you don't have to run like 4 copies of Bastion Prime, to be fair. It's interesting, this guy's not running the Forbidal Regala, actually running the the anti-OT one. So this one's a bit of a different take on it, I guess. I guess, like, you know, having 25k shield is pretty good in Bastion as well, just because you normally don't have, like, shield. So having that is fine, but we're seeing people run Accord and then the OG Bastion, so it feels like you're just going to stick with max Persona Ride before going into, like, maybe a finisher, grade 4. So cool. And then here we have another Mikazuki list, and I guess the big difference is just, like, you know, this person is running the Forge Order. So we have one without the Forge Order and one with the Forge Order. So that's the main difference I see. Again, I do really want to test out this deck and just see how good it is, right? And then next we have the Orphis list. So this Orphis list is remarkably similar to my list, I found. It's just, you know, they just maxed out on the Mask Searcher, right? 4 of this, and then that's pretty much your slots. Like, you look at the rest of it, it's just like, you know, 2, 2, I think I ran like 3-2-3 though. This ran 2-2-4, so they were able to get one more spot out of the order lineup, and then yeah, the rest is just, you know, the grade 2 from the TD and the grade 1 from the new set, and that's pretty much all the slots you have. Also only running 2 Ragus, but yeah, that's kind of there. You know, just kind of, if you refine the list a bit more, you'll find the right ratios for you. But kind of expected from what you see from Orphis. And then next we have is just Bastion. So this one, again, another totally different Bastion. This is the 3rd place team, by the way. So we've got the normal Bastion lineup. Actually, is it? No. Okay, so this one, oh. So just on ride, draw card, and discard a card. Okay, but then this person does not play any of the grade 4 Bastion Primes at all, right? Decided to forgo it, just max Persona Ride, 4 Accord, and 4 OG Bastion. And then there is no way you miss, right? I hope there is, of course. But you also run Fork, so, you know, you have an extra drive, so there's no way you miss, right? There's no way you miss. Also running Red OT here as well. So very aggressive, very aggressive. And then they're the team that also ran the hero list. So this PR is actually insane. So this is pretty much the PR that I think just makes everything work. And just at the end of the battle, if you have a hero Vanguard, you can Soul Blast and, you know, retire this unit. And then you can scout something. You get a scouted card on your bases and add it to hands, and then you can get a base from, like, your drop zone and put the order zone rested. So you can, like, you just get more stuff, right? Let's just get more stuff. But yeah, the heroes really taking the scene. Then the 4th place team, they have, like, Greedon, right? This is, like I said before, this has been showing results already. It's just a very, very standard list. Also, but running the cycle, so, you know, this is the order cycle, right? So okay, and then 4 clean sleeps, so this is a very big list. Right, look at all these one-offs. 4 masks as well. Wow. Okay. All right. Cool. And then another Bastion list here. This one I kind of like though. This one is running that 1 Bastion Prime, but, you know, you can always search the Bastion Prime with the order, right? And also means that on the time you ride Bastion Prime, actually, I was gonna say there's no way you miss, but then they do run the Cycler, so there is a way you miss by hitting grade 2s. But then you plus a lot of cards, so I can't complain, right? You can't really complain. But yeah, that's kind of interesting, like 1 Bastion Prime, 2 of the OG Bastion, and then 4 of the Bastion Accord. And then here is just the Magnolia list that we have, and Magnolia Mask, Inlet Pulse, right? Inlet Pulse, and then a hodgepodge of a lot of other cards. So Mask Searches, you know, bunch of tech, it seems, and then 3 of the, I think, Bist Aviana, right? Just to kind of get back orders, create Dragon Tree markers, and then just, yeah, the 4 Screw Dragon is insane. So yeah, pretty cool. Also have a Lakia list that turns out. I think this is just a pretty straightforward standard Lakia list, just a bunch of Silver Fawns. And then support, running one of the OT remover, alright, that's pretty much it. And then after that, we have, you know, the Zorga. So this is when Diversity Cut starts to begin. But this Zorga is actually, like, pretty standard, except for this card making its way back, like Free Soul Blast. Also, they got the new Misty Arc support, or Misty Arc order, so that automatically goes into every single deck. It's just insanely good, and if you reused a couple of times, bam, good times, right? This Solarian list that popped out, so I think, you know, Solarian might not be meme anymore, right? Because, you know, before it's just like, Solarian, what does it do? It did 4 attacks. It could do 5 attacks by doing more, but they actually got some support in set 12, this card, right? And this card makes your 5th attack very, very easy. Yeah, so when it's called right? You can just look at the top card of your deck and put it to the top or bottom, right? And then you just CB1 and then just reveal the top card of the deck. If it's just a normal, if it's a unit, right? You just call it to an open rearguard circle. So you don't have to do anything weird anymore. You just you just put this to the top, bam, call it out, bam, another attack, 5 attack. That's it. So in terms of a third deck, this is definitely a deck. This is definitely a deck, but it's not as bad as like maybe people think it is now, right? Then they have the Omina Grizzly or whatever, alright? So I think looking at the deck, they pretty much did the normal thing you do, you know, run your 4/4 of the Omina Grizzly, right? And then, you know, because it searches for the order, actually maxed out the order, the mask count, right? And then just every single support you put in, actually running 4 of the mask searcher. But then I guess the key thing is like, what are the flex slots they're doing? And they decided to go with cyclers over something like Gungram, which I know a lot of people popular. But this is fine too. This one does call out a card, you know, and then it works during the early few turns. So just kind of stabilize that part. But only one of these showed up in the whole tournament or whole top 16. So yeah, pretty. At least we see a build of it. And then lastly, we do see another Orphis list as well. So this one's kind of a different take, right? This one's running. I think this one is a set order searcher. So when you play a set order from your hand, you can look at the top 5 and then just grab another set order from there. So this can kind of get the set order cycle, keep on going and going and going so you don't run out. Only running like, this guy's a bit risky, a bit of a risky, frisky guy, right? Only 2 mask searches, and then only 2 masks as well. So, you know, basically running 4 masks in the deck, but you know, if you miss, we've had situations where if you miss, you miss, right? And then not running any way to call out any more Shadow Army tokens when you play over things, like the Grade 1, for example, but decided to run just this one that can kind of get back more orders back to hand. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So overall, we did have quite a diverse kind of list. Of course, there was a diversity cut, so of course there's going to be some diverse stuff, but at least we see some of these builds that are popping up, and it just, right now, there's a lot of decks in Tier A, or like Tier 2, I guess, right, if you want to put it that way. So, you know, you have the top tier, a couple of decks, you know, maybe Gandiva's there now, and then you have a whole bunch of decks just under that that'll do well, that people will take for like that third deck, and then maybe even some decks below that too. So overall, just there's a lot of decks after set 12 that you can play that seems to do well. But apart from that, that's pretty much the entire tournament. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like to see all these results? Right, set 12 looking good. I know set 12 looked pretty kind of mid when it got released, but right now it's looking like it's at least changed the scene a little bit, right? A little bit. Right? Gandiva is still very strong, so a lot of people will still be sad. But yeah, that is it from me. I'll see you all later. All right, bye.